Hey gang, Will here from the Ashland Fly Shop with a fishing report for you for the middle of March. It's where we are, the middle of March. And yeah, some good stuff coming, a lot of transition things, some positive stuff happening right in our region. So we're going to give you a kind of a quick roundup and send you on your way. So here we go. Rogue River is the place to be, sort of the upper end, the Grants Pass area, right on up to the dam. Really at this point is really going to be a good bet as we get into this middle of March to maybe the first 10 days or so of April, which is kind of pushing it, but we'll see what kind of conditions we get. Sometimes it can, the winter steelhead can kind of linger on, but it is a good place to be now in those upper stretches. We are seeing very low flows out of the dam. We're seeing good conditions, good flows at around Dodge Bridge, that Central Point area, you know, 2,000 in that stretch, and then, you know, just a little bit more as you go downstream. Kind of high clear conditions, probably a little bit of color out there, but high clear conditions. So good conditions. The next 10 days or so looks pretty wide open. We will see some a little bit warmer temps. So you might just keep an eye on little bumps and flows with snowmelt, but I kind of doubt that we're going to see, you know, kind of a big increase in flows from snowmelt. That could affect the North Umpqua a little bit more maybe, but it probably won't do much to the Rogue. The Rogue, they will probably start letting water out at some point. I know the dam, Lost Creek, is quite full, so they'll probably start, you know, letting some water out. I don't think that'll happen in the next 20 to 30 days, but, you know, we're going to get there pretty soon here is my guess, where they start letting a little bit of water out of the dam. We'll probably have some pretty high water for salmon fly hatch, but that's okay. Catching, pretty normal, you know, here and there we're seeing fish be caught, some really nice fish. I've seen a couple really nice fish come out of the upper river. It's a great time to be swinging flies, really a good time to be nymph fishing through there. Probably going to turn more of these winter fish with nymphs, you know, compared to the summer run and stuff like that. They're going to respond to that a little bit better than even the swung flies. So swinging flies, you're really looking for that one fish, looking for that grab. So you always want to keep that in mind when you're looking for winter steelhead. But now is the time to be poking around and looking. If you've got a raft, if you've got some kind of craft, or you have the ability to do a guided day, that's certainly going to put you in front of the most possibilities. You want to cover water to get in front of these fish at this point. But yeah, it's looking good for kind of this peak winter steelhead time for us here on the Rogue River, and the Rogue's going to be a real good bet right now. North Umpqua, again, a real kind of standout winter steelhead river. Can get pretty busy up there, so you want to keep that in mind, but flows are looking good. Flows are looking good up there. As I said before, I think you might be looking at a little bit of snowmelt activity if we get into these a little bit warmer temps that we might see coming up in the next 10 days, but shouldn't do too much to the river. Maybe put a little color in, which could be good. But a good time to be up in the fly water up there and looking for some really special fish up there right now. So that section and a little bit below, if you're walking in those areas there, that's going to be a good bet to be on the north. Flows are looking good. I think you can probably expect around 1,500 or so in the fly water, something like that. You know, 1,800, something like that with the inflow from Steamboat. And that should be pretty good. So yeah, just in keeping with that idea, you know, the coast is sort of wrapped up a bit. You know, it would be sort of considered a little bit late on the real coastal streams, and the longer interior rivers like the Rogue, North Umpqua, Klamath, that's where you're sort of looking at those fish to be showing up in concentrations to be in those upper stretches. And so that's what we're talking about as far as the north. So pretty good bet. Klamath River, this would be kind of the last gasp for the Klamath, I would say. You might find some nice winter fish. You could certainly fish down there on the Klamath. I feel like you can fish as long as the conditions are good for it. You know, cooler water temps like there's certainly going to be now, and the potential for a good winter fish. You know, there's no doubt that there's late summer fish down there still, but March is about the time to start, you know, kind of stop fishing in that stretch now and kind of leave those late summer fish alone. And I've always felt that the winter fish in there are just kind of few and far between, but this could be a pretty interesting year to look for them because there's been quite a few fish down in the Klamath system this year. So it could be an interesting time to poke around that upper end of the Klamath around I-5 for winter fish. I think it's a bit high, maybe in the 2200 flow section, which isn't too bad. You might not be able to fish everywhere you want, but that's probably not too bad of a flow for that. So yeah, I think it'd be maybe worth poking around, but not at the top of my list. The holy water section of the Rogue, that little catch and release trout section that we talk about that's above the hatchery, right adjacent to the hatchery, should start to be a pretty good bet in March. It should transition. You do want to watch out for spawning fish. We have really seen some really good natural reproduction happening in there. We really want to encourage that in there. So keep an eye out. There's a couple of walk-in spots where you can really see the reds. So just try to keep off of those. But the fish should start to come out of their lethargy a little bit and be a little bit more active in there. We've seen some pretty tough fishing up there in the last couple months, and I expect that to start to break here in March and fish to be responding to streamers a little bit better. We start to see those hatches kind of taper off with a little bit brighter days, but the streamer fishing and maybe some nymph fishing should start to pick up in March there. So the holy water would be a very good bet. And kind of just in keeping with trout, it's time to start thinking about trout. March, we've got some season openers coming up in April that are really great. Northern California can be a really good place to be. We might get a little pre-runoff fishing on the McCloud and the Upper Sacramento before you know, we'll see a pretty strong runoff this year. So so we want to start being tuned into that fishing, and we'll kind of give you updates there. We're very excited and anticipating a really good salmon fly hatch this year. So we've been talking a lot about that, and we'll talk a bit more about it on the Rogue as we're getting closer to that mid-May or late May opener for the Rogue for salmon flies, which is a blast. We are booking trips at a little private water fishery in Northern California in conjunction with the fly shop out of Redding called Sugar Creek Ranch. And this is a really cool place if you're just dying to get out and do some trout fishing before, you know, a lot of this stuff opens or becomes fishable. And it's a really cool spot. It's easy to get to from where we are, and we're going to be talking a little bit more about that, have some current reports for you. But the season outlook looks really good, and this would be a very good time to go down in the next like 6 weeks or so. Could be some really good fishing down there. Some beautiful fish in there, really nice clean fish, and some kind of interesting you know, small lake pond fishing down there for some really outstanding fish. So Sugar Creek Ranch, if you're just looking for something to do, it's a $150 walk-in for the day, I think, which is totally worth it. Really a great string of little ponds down there to fish. So please get in touch with us if you'd like to talk a little bit more about that. But we're going to be talking a little bit more about that in this early part of the season, Sugar Creek Ranch. So there's a quick update for you for a little roundup for the last gas winter steelhead in the state of Jefferson. Looking forward to trout 2019, super pumped about it. So please, if you're looking to do a trip or something, give us a call. Happy to give you as up to the minute details as we can, what we're seeing, what we're hearing. So please keep in touch, and thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll be talking to you soon.